Hi. Once again, it's Black History Month, February, and we'll be talking with the expert on Black history today on The Bernie Hayes Show. And welcome back. My guest is Johnson Lancaster from Progressive Emporium and Education Center here in St. Louis. Johnson, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you, Bernie.
You know, you're a frequent visitor with us because you do so many things and so often, and which is great. And when I introduced you as an author of Black history and authority on Black history, I was certainly describing you as you are. Tell us about Johnson Lancaster and the Progressive Emporium and Education Center.
I am but a humble servant to the people in the community, Bernie. But the Progressive Emporium and Education Center is now located at 1108 North Sarah Street in the historic Sarah Finney neighborhood, also known as the Vandervenner neighborhood.
Okay.
And we've been there now since 2013. In that location. And what we intend to accomplish is to address the mind, the body, and the spirit. And to do that with a series of monthly activities, nutrition and wellness classes, workshops, and author book signings from local authors. St. Louis has a lot of really good, talented Black authors. And so we're very fortunate that all we have to do is pick up the phone and ask them to come by and share their work with us.
Right.
We also set up the Progressive Emporium with a library. This particular version has a library in it. It's called the Mama Frances Jernigan Reading Room.
Wow.
And it's dedicated to Mama Frances Jernigan, who was one of our supporters.
I remember her very well.
And she had a very extensive book collection and a very extensive record collection and an art collection. And she gave all of that to us before she went into Ancestry. Yeah. So it's free and open to the public. People can come and use the library. It's a non-circulating library, so none of the material can leave. Okay. Because a lot of it is first edition, out-of-print work.
But there's a place where they can read at Progressive, right?
Yes, indeed.
There's a reading room there.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, I noticed the rich regalia that you're wearing today, Johnson. We're not used to seeing that. We're used to seeing this shirt and the tie and so forth. So tell us about this wonderful rich history that you're portraying.
This particular top I have is from Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso?
West Africa.
Okay.
And it's got representation of the Dogon people on it. This is one of their spiritual symbols.
Wow.
That represents the duality of all things in existence, and how they relate in terms of the harmony of the universe, the order of the cosmos.
This weekend is the final weekend we just passed of Acoma Festival, or Black Love Days, February the 13th to the 15th, which just passed. Could you tell us about Acoma, the Acoma Festival?
Well, the Acoma Festival is an extension of what started out as Black Love Day, which was started by Ayo Handy Kendi back in the early 90s, in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So what had happened is that her son had been killed in a really tragic incident where his body was found on a playground in the neighborhood near their house. He was 19 years old at the time.
Wow.
And it spurred her that she said that there's too much Black on Black hate. There needs to be more Black on Black love. And that spurred her to create this commemoration called Black Love Day, where we spend February 13th engaged in acts of love, respect, and care on 5 levels over a 24-hour period. So St. Louis was the second city to have an official Black Love Day celebration. And we have continued that tradition along with her and spread it across the country. And we've been allowed by Ayohandi Kendi to include in our Black Love Day celebration what we call the Akoma Festival.
Okay.
Now, the Akoma is an Adinkra symbol that is basically a heart. And Adinkra symbols come out of West Africa, the Ivory Coast, and Ghana, and Nigeria. And those symbols are ways to teach lessons. And those lessons are associated with proverbs. So the Akoma is a heart. And the proverb associated with it in the Twi language goes Nya Akoma, which means to have a heart, to have compassion and care for your fellow human being. And so we figure that prominently in our celebration. And then we have extended it to 3 days, from February 13th to February 15th.
Okay. So next year, February 13th through the 15th, will be also Black Love Day.
Yes.
Okay. I neglected to give you the Kiswahili greeting that I usually give to you, habari gani.
Oh, well, in Jama, asante habari gani.
Thank you, sir. Asante sana. Jama habari, what does that mean?
The Jama habari was a newsletter that we published.
Okay.
But in Kiswahili, the East African language of Kiswahili, it means the news of the family, news of the community.
Okay.
Jama technically means family or familyhood or the concept of family. And in that respect, it's also related to the one of the 7 principles of Nguzo Saba,
okay,
which is Ujamaa,
yeah,
cooperative economics. But at its root, philosophically, it means familyhood, because the family is the unit through which the basic needs of people are met,
okay,
and how that spreads out through the community.
You know, I introduced you as an historian, what you are. I cannot ever speak to Johnson Lancaster without learning something. And especially when I come by Progressive Emporium Bookstore and Education Center, I leave there with more knowledge than when I entered. And you and Veronica and everybody else, and Kujaliwa, are just full of information. But I want to get to why you became an historian and how you became a historian before we leave this morning. But Black History Month, African American History Month, tell us a brief history of it.
In 1926, Carter G. Woodson, who had formed something called the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History about 11 years earlier than that, he wanted to create a way for the richness of our legacy and heritage to be instilled in our community in an organized fashion. And so Negro History Week was born in February of 1926. Okay. His goal was to make sure that we were written back into the global history of the planet. And he was saying that our accomplishments and our great figures of the forward flow of human history had been left out of the documentation of history, and he wanted to put us back in.
Totally omitted.
Yes, we had been omitted. And he said that was not the case. And they were developing, what was happening was they were developing an image of us as a people who had accomplished nothing, who had no civilization and were worthless. And he said that was far from the case. And he wanted to make sure that people understood what our central role in the development of humanity and civilization was. And so that's why he came up with Negro History Week, which ultimately became Black History Month.
Okay. Do you consider African American History Month, Black History Month, Colored History Month, Negro History Month? As he said, it was Negro History Week at the time. So, but that progression, I guess, really doesn't matter, does it? As long as we absorb it.
As long as the main mission of it, which is to continue to ensure that we are included in the understanding of how history came to this point. What are the accomplishments that we have as a people to the forward flow of human progress and in the development of civilization, period, on Earth.
I want to get to all that with Johnson Lancaster, who was the education coordinator at the Progressive Emporium Bookstore and Education Center. But we're at the New Life Evangelistic Center, 1411 Locust Street in downtown St. Louis, Missouri, has closed, but they're trying to get it reopened. Our current position is at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. And we're here supplying the same needs, addressing the same needs that we were addressing downtown. But we need your help and support because it costs money to keep these services going. You know the terrible weather, horrible weather we've had in the past few weeks. Reverend Rice and his crew were out on the streets providing services, providing water, providing clothing, providing shelter. But we need your help. And you may help us through Post Office Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri 63166. It's a tax-deductible contribution or investment in New Life Evangelistic Center to keep these programs going. And you may do it online. It's very simple at www.newlifeevangelisticcenter.org. It takes less than 2 minutes to make that investment through MasterCard, Visa, American Express, or Discover. Back with Johnson Lancaster, we'll be discussing more African American history after this.
Aren't you thankful for the Bernie Hayes Show and how it really deals with the issues? So many of the issues that are totally ignored by the rich and the powerful media that's out there. And Bernie's dealing with those issues. There are many, many people that are hurting. There are so many that are homeless in our community. And when you go into that city hall, it almost seems like you're approaching into a Disneyland, that they ignore all the issues right underneath their door. And they'll do more to try to promote, whether it's soccer stadiums or gentrification projects for the rich and powerful, than providing shelter for the hurting and the homeless. And many within that city hall actually fight against the homeless and are doing everything they can to shut down programs for the homeless. It's all described in this book, Through the Fire. If you haven't gotten your copy of Through the Fire yet, please do it now. By sharing your gift of $10 or more, you not only help to keep the Bernie Hayes Show on the air, but you're directly helping the New Life Evangelistic Center to get back into the facility at 1411 Locust and help the homeless people as it moves out onto the streets among them. So you can send that special gift to the New Life Evangelistic Center at P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, that's 63166. I thank God for Bernie and the Bernie Hayes Show and all the wonderful guests that he has on. But in order to make that possible, we need you to do your part. And that's why your gift is so very, very important at this time, because not only do we bring you the wholesome family programming through NLEC TV and community-issued programming, but also we're directly out there trying to help people that are hurting through the work of New Life Evangelistic Center. So again, your gift of $10 or more will not only make it possible for us to send you a copy of the book Through the Fire, if you'll simply request such when you make the gift, but you'll also know in your heart that you've made a big difference for good to allow New Life Evangelistic Center to continue to be there when people are hurting. Thank you, and may God bless you for caring and sharing.
Welcome back. We're talking about African American history. What's one of the authorities on that subject? Johnson Lancaster from Progressive Bookstore and Emporium, Progressive Emporium Bookstore and Education Center. Johnson, how did you become an historian and why? Well,
I've always had an interest in how things came to be, and so in order to understand that, you've got to look at what happened before.
Okay.
Now, I was a journalist in one of my careers.
I remember you were my editor at the St. Louis American newspaper years ago, and photographer.
And actually, I was encouraged to become a historian, a formally trained historian.
Sure.
But I was more interested in what was unfolding before our very eyes in contemporary times. So that's why I became a journalist.
Okay.
But my interest in what had happened before.
You're from Howard University, right?
My degree is from Howard University,
right?
In journalism.
Okay. So, are you getting the word out? Was Progressive Emporium Bookstore formulated or created to educate the general masses, or what?
Progressive Emporium and Education Center originally was formulated to make sure that there was a place that existed in our community for our people to get information about who we are and what we've accomplished as a people, and our contributions to civilization, our contributions to history, our contributions to moral and ethics, our contributions to the understanding of government and politics, and science and invention, and philosophy and metaphysics. And we wanted to make sure, and the contributions we have to culture and arts and education, we wanted all of that to be known.
Okay.
And so we wanted a place where people could come and get that information without necessarily having to really search for it. We ended up being the clearinghouse for that, and that was our mission.
I noticed that the word Afrocentricity is embedded in you, it's part of you. Tell us what Afrocentricity means and why it's important.
The African-centered worldview means that you see us as a people as the central focus in the understanding of how humanity and civilization came to be.
Okay.
And so that's very different from what's pursued by the dominant culture. The dominant culture pursues a European-centered approach to everything.
Okay.
They try to say that they were the ones that created civilization. And in fact, when you take a good look at it, they were the beneficiaries of the early steps that were taken by humanity. And those early steps that were taken by humanity have been shown to have come out of the continent of Africa.
Most of them come from Africa. Okay.
That's 4 million years ago.
Yeah.
You have some of the earliest evidence of humanity arising out of the Omo Valley in Ethiopia, and the Olduvai Gorge in Kenya, and descending down the Nile to build the great civilizations of Kemet and Nubia.
Okay.
And spinning off of that, when you go back and look at what Western civilization says, that the Greeks and the Romans were the beginning of civilization, but if you look at the writings of certain Greek and Roman scholars, they say directly that they learned all they had from the temple schools in the Nile Valley.
In Africa.
In Africa.
How can we reach you? You know, there's so much information. And when I visit Progressive Emporium Bookstore and Education Center, I see books that I don't see at Julia Davis Library. I see books I don't see at the other branches of the public libraries, either city or the county. So you have a very unique collection there, I noticed. But tell us, first of all, where you're located and how we can reach you.
We're at 1108 North Sarah Street.
1108 North Sarah.
We're open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you can also call us at 314-875-9277. If you would like to find us on the internet, we do have a Facebook page.
Okay.
All you have to do is go to Facebook and put in our name, Progressive Emporium and Education Center, and our page will come up.
This collection that you have, very unique collection. Where does it come from? I mean, that we can't find at Julia Davis branches. And like I said earlier, you have some collection, some history there that is not widely known. And
well, we've been very fortunate in that we've been associated with some publishing houses that have endeavored to make sure that these types of works are made available. Africa World Press out of New Jersey, Third World Press out of Chicago, Black Classic Press out of Baltimore. These are three of our main sources. There's also a distributor out of Chicago and a distributor out of Baltimore. They have compiled a great list of literature, history, philosophy, science, fiction, children's books, DVDs, lots of really good sources. And so we had access to this. We cultivated that over time. And we've been able to mine those avenues for some really great work. And then we pay attention to make sure that we scour a lot of other publications and other sources to try to keep up to date as to what our scholars are putting out on a regular basis.
And these publishers, I notice they don't necessarily cater to Barnes and Noble and the other big Amazon and so forth. That they have their authors or people who wouldn't normally be published by these big houses. And, like through the WordPress out of Chicago. They collect so much wonderful and rich information that we wouldn't ordinarily see. And I noticed that it's channeled right through Progressive Emporium.
Yes, we're very fortunate.
Yeah.
At one point, there used to be about...
We'll have a minute left in this segment.
About 1,500 stores like Progressive across the country.
Okay.
But for a variety of reasons, economic, political, and social, a lot of those stores have disappeared, closed up. Right now, there's a list that's circulating that shows that right now there's about 70 brick and mortar black bookstores in the country. Wow. And total about maybe 40 more that are just online.
So we must support Progressive Emporium. Johnson, I would like to hand you this book from Reverend Larry Rice. You've been a supporter of New Life Evangelistic Center for so long, and you come by every time we have something supportive. You and Veronica and others from support New Life. But this is the story of New Life Evangelistic Center, the gentrification, and why they got rid of the 1411 Locust Street facility, but we're trying to get it reopened. But Reverend Rice wanted you to have that particular book, and we hope that others will also get this book. And also this mug, too. It's very important to the support of New Life Evangelistic Center. And who better to tell you about how to get the book or the mug than Reverend Larry Rice?
Hello, I'm Larry Rice, Director of the New Life Evangelistic Center. I want to encourage you to get your Bernie Hayes mug. And in addition to sharing a very special gift of $25 or more so we can get back into 1411 Locust, I have a historical book that I want to add to the mug to enable you to get the complete history of what took place between 2012 and 2018 to shut down a church at 1411 Locust because its congregation were primarily homeless people. We're going to share both of these with you if you'll share your gift now so we can get back into the 1411 Locust building and help the hundreds and hundreds of people that are suffering at this time that literally have nowhere to go. I thank God for Bernie Hayes and his faithful years of service, for his program that has touched the lives of so many people. And now we're teaming up with Bernie Hayes, sharing the Bernie Hayes mug and Through the Fire book, if you'll just share that gift of $25 or more. Now be sure you request the Bernie Hayes mug and the Through the Fire book, and you know that you'll be a part of great things God is doing.
We'll return to our guests after this Black History Moment. Today's subject, Madam C.J. Walker, a protege of St. Louis's own Annie Malone. She was born Sarah Breedlove in 1867 near Delta, Louisiana. After suffering from a scalp ailment that resulted in her own hair loss, she invented a line of African-American hair care products in 1905. She promoted the products by traveling around the country, giving lecture and demonstrations, and eventually established Madam C.J. Walker Laboratories to manufacture cosmetics and train sales beauticians. Her business acumen led her to be one of the first African-American women, or American women actually, to become a self-made millionaire. In 1907, Walker and her husband traveled around the South and Southwest promoting her products and giving lecture demonstrations of her Walker method, involving her own formula for pomade, brushing, and the use of heated combs. Madam C.J. Walker died of hypertension May 25, 1919, at the age of 51. At the time of her death, Walker was the sole owner of a business which was valued to be more than $1 million. Her personal fortune was estimated between $600,000 and $700,000. Today, Walker is widely credited as one of the first African-American women to become a self-made millionaire. Madam C.J. Walker.
Now you can take NLEC TV anywhere as you put the NLEC TV app on your iPhone or mobile device. NLEC TV is an innovative TV station that's on the cutting edge of community service. When you tune in to NLEC TV, you'll discover a television station that has been operated by previously homeless individuals who've received broadcast training through New Life Evangelistic Center's unique on-the-job training program. On NLEC TV, you'll discover wholesome family, community, renewable energy, and inspirational programming. Those needing energy assistance, food, clothing, or freedom from the cycle of homelessness will find that plus much more on NLEC TV. Now, you can receive NLEC TV by going to 24.2 on your television set or putting the NLEC TV app on your iPhone or mobile device. For further information, call 314-436-2424 or go to nlecstl.org. That's nlecstl.org.
My guest is Johnson Lancaster. We're talking about African American history. We're talking about the inception of Negro History Week and then African American History Month, Black History Month. And then Johnson, is there anything that we didn't talk about that perhaps you want to discuss?
There's so much that's going to take up another show, Bernie.
Okay,
so I have to come back
well,
again.
Let's prepare for it now.
But St. Louis is very significant in terms of Black history. That great exhibit that was at the History Museum that was put together that showed how St. Louis had a great critical role in the civil rights struggle.
Sure.
And also how St. Louis really wouldn't have existed without the Louisiana Purchase. That was a result of Napoleon needing money to continue to try to subjugate the Haitians on Haiti. Sure. And ultimately, the French lost to an organized revolution of African people. and they established the second, quote unquote, the second Democratic Republic in the Western Hemisphere. Okay. But it was run by African people. And they beat one of the strongest colonial nations in the world.
So this is not widely known. This is why I guess progressive is so important. But before we go on, let's once again find out how we can reach you, how we get more information for Progressive. Where are you located?
Well, Progressive is located at 1108 North Sarah Street.
No, that's exactly where. That's near Finney.
It's between Cook and Finney.
Between Cook and Finney. Or near Page.
It's 3 blocks south of Delmar. No, 5 blocks south of Delmar.
Hey,
3 blocks
north of Page. 3 blocks south of Page.
3 blocks south of Page. And 5 blocks north of Delmar. That's correct.
Okay. And the phone number there is what?
314-875-9277.
And your hours of operation?
Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay. And how about on Facebook?
Just put in Progressive Emporium and Education Center, and it'll take you right to our page.
Okay. And you're open what's the hours or what?
11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Oh, Monday through Saturday. Monday through Saturday, okay. And new authors, can they call you to get at least for you to review their product and may perhaps have a book signing there?
Yes, authors call us and send us information about their books all the time. Mm-hmm. And so we're very open to that because we want to be able to showcase and highlight the great literary talent that exists here in the city of St. Louis, in our community.
And how can one receive your newsletters, your Jamal Habari, and so forth?
We have a listserv that we send out, an email listserv. Mm-hmm. And if you can...
We'll get on the list by calling you?
You can do that, or you can send us a note through our Facebook page or stop by.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate.
You can also send us an email. Yeah. ProgressiveEmporium@yahoo.com.
ProgressiveEmporium@yahoo.com. Okay. Johnson, it's always a pleasure. Always a time. It's too short. I love the Brigadia, and I love everything that you do, and I'm just so happy to know you and the people at Progressive Emporium Bookstore, and I hope this association will continue as you continue to visit us here at New Life.
It will be our pleasure.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
And thank you all for visiting with us also. It's Black History Month, African American History Month, Negro History Month, and we hope we learned some information from Johnson Lancaster today. You can always stop by at Progressive Emporium, 1108 North Sarah, right there at corner between Finney and Cook. I'm Bernie Hayes, and we're at 1411 Locust Street. Location is moved to 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. Come by, visit with us, bring some clothes, bring some food, bring some water. Reverend Larry Rice and the staff will continue to support the people in need. I'm Bernie Hayes. Have a great day. See you next time.